We've talked to you before.
Yes. Yeah, it's really been a while to talk with you. So yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you for texting me for the this interview.
Yeah, it's great. We
Mm.
if you don't mind, I actually have your song "Fake Smile," but
Mm-hmm.
and we can actually play a little bit of it, or we could play it if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can play that.
Okay, but before we
Mm.
do that, we want to let people know this is the Fam Electric Ghost podcast, and we're talking to Rick Life, and you're singer, songwriter, musician, producer out of Tokyo, Japan, right now. And if you've been here before, you've been on the show. And today we're going to talk about your latest release, Fake Smile. But I want to
Mm-hmm.
let people also know that we are a featured podcast on the Newsly platform, and
Mm-hmm.
that's an audio platform. If people use the coupon code GHOST, they can listen to that for free to the audience
Mm-hmm.
today. If they use the coupon code GHOST and they go to newsly.me on
Mm-hmm.
Apple iStore, Apple App Store, or Amazon, they can listen on that platform. And later today, we're going to publish on Spotify for podcast, and we'll be on Apple and iHeartRadio and many, like 11 other platforms. So
Mm-hmm.
that'll be good to let you know. We create a landing page, and we can send you that landing page, and you can send that to your audience, and they can listen to whatever platform they want to hear the interview.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay,
that's
sounds
just the background. but
good.
but you came up with your new song. It says it's a 2023 a remix. Maybe you can
Yes.
kind of give people the background on this song, "Fake Smile," before we play it.
So the theme of this song is focusing on mental health. The I wrote the song not this year, but uh actually I have released the original one like 2 years ago, so 2021.
Hmm.
So that's why the this time the title has 2023 remix, because I believe my uh the techniques for the mixing and the production has been improved when I compared to 2 years ago. So I kind of rearranged and remixed, brushing up. So so and then actually it's one of my favorite song,
I,
so I wanted to release again. Yeah.
yeah, I like the vocal layers. Is that all your voice that you've done?
Yes, every I mean the lyrics part was my voice, but the intro and the outro voice actually I pick up from uh the sample,
Oh, a sample. Okay, but
and
yeah.
then just I edit and then add some plugin.
Oh, that's awesome. But I like what you've been able to do with your voice. I can see that you change your techniques and different styles, and you have your rapping,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it's really interesting. And I like the subject matter, and
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about kind of like fake people, and the consequences of that. But we'll let everybody hear the song, so I'll put you on mute while we play it, so we don't want the feedback back in. But we're gonna play it. I think I'll play the whole link. It's only like 3 minutes, so if that's fine, I'll play it. If that's okay with you.
I have some collab project,
Oh wow!
so I have to yeah keep working on it until the deadline.
So
So
you got a lot of work. So you're busy.
yeah,
So that's good to be busy.
yeah.
So
Yeah, mm,
but I see like this year you had "Feel with Love" was like the first song I saw, at least on Spotify, and now you have
mm-hmm,
"Fake Smile." And we had talked before that that's a remix from like two
mm-hmm.
2 years ago, right? This is a new version.
Yes, yes, yeah. Cause this year, yeah, I had like a uh, so the first half year, I because of my work, I
Hmm.
didn't uh I didn't have much time focusing on music.
Mm-hmm.
And after changing my job, finally I got more time for the music. So and then the this single is my first single release for this year.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like we talked about the fact that you felt like you could improve the song, so you did a remix and you've got new ideas on it, and we're gonna
Yes.
actually
Yes.
play it. But yeah, that's interesting when you're a musician. Like you have songs, and then you go back and you say, well, you know what? Based on what I can do now, I could
Mm-hmm.
actually go back and like work on this song. Is that how you thought about it? Like, well, I have some capabilities now. Maybe I want to like see what I can do with it now. Is that how you viewed it? That you found that you had new ideas that you wanted to address on that song?
Well, uh the earlier I said the Fake Smile is my favorite song, but uh the song when I released the first time 2 years ago, uh I released via the recording label,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a trouble with the label, and then I left,
Mm-hmm.
and then so the song was taken down
Oh.
after that.
Oh, so you couldn't. So
So
you wanted to put it back out.
yes, yes, I wanted to put it back out. So and plus just I try to improve my skills every day,
Mm-hmm.
and then I found out I still can do something for the song,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah. Well, I find
it.
that too. I mean, if you 2 years ago, yeah, as a
Mm-hmm,
musician, right, you're at a certain level, right. 2 years later, with like
mm-hmm,
all the technology and all the skills as a producer, you learn new things, right? You're like, whoa, I could use these plugins, I could change this on my voice, I could use these preamps, I could change the mix. And a
yes,
lot of times when we're musicians, I don't know if people realize, like, you might have multiple versions of a song, but before you
yeah,
even release it, and then you make a choice, and
yes,
then you
yes.
might have like, well, you know what, I really want to do this version. And
Mm,
now that we're free, a lot of us are independent, we can make choices. It's like, hey, I can put a whole EP of like multiple versions of this song. you know
mm-hmm.
if you want to, but that's
Yeah, yeah, it can be possible. Yeah.
it's just interesting. So I want to give everybody, the audience, a chance to hear this. So we're gonna play it. I'm gonna put you on mute. Hopefully I won't lose you. I'm just gonna do that on the mixer I'm using, and we're gonna play the whole track, and hopefully I don't lose you. Okay.
Nobody cares about me. I don't exist. Maybe I'm not sure I'm dying, but I know you are coming here. Such a liar. Painkiller, take a 5 times. You really like mine. I never happy here. Loving is so pain. Drink my tears, baby. You wear my high heels. My heart is so bad. Kiss my ass, baby. Return on my time and the money never come back. But you better irony, you never know that. Feels so good, but you can't have it more than what you wanna from me. I am in a bitch off. So toxic like you, kicking like a conflict wire. Giggling are so annoying. Stop your re-rate, bring me some duct tape. Just shut down, fuck on. Nobody listen to me, I'm not deserving. I'm not sure I'm crying, but I know you don't know me. Such a killer, liar, don't give me the kindness. Everything I give you.
lyrics
Yeah.
of it, and just the kind of the authenticity of your lyrics in terms of like you like you say kiss my ass. He's like you're kind of being like it's just like you're being real, and I like that. So maybe
Oh, thank you.
you just maybe what inspired the song? Is there a story behind like why you decided to write it?
So 2 years ago, I really had a hard time for my entire life. Like it was right after I graduated college, and but because of COVID pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
I lost the chance to have like an internship in like a music studio. This is what I really wanted to do, but yeah, So is so somehow I try to overcome the situation, but also uh I can't say in detail, but uh, not only for my career music path, but also I had a hard time for my family and friends. So uh, I can say the 2 years ago, um, I I had uh, so much time that I was in depression.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to express my negative feeling into music. It was the best way
Yeah.
to release my negative thought by making music for me. So, and so I just told the story. So this year I finally released the first single as with this song as
Mm-hmm.
a remix. I also had a hard time this year because of the previous job.
Mm-hmm.
I also had a really depression time, and I figure out maybe it's a really good timing to release the song again.
Yeah.
So that's why, yeah.
I think a lot of times with music, as musicians, we take the things that happen in our lives. I
Mm-hmm.
take a lot of the yeah, like I think a lot of artists take things that are like experiences that might be negative, and we turn it into art.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to like painters and people who are poets. It's all the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. Even like actors, they take
Mm-hmm.
the things that hurt them, right, and they put it into their performance. They put it into their
Mm-hmm.
work, and that's like the nature of a creative person. Is the benefit we have is that we can take the things that happen to us
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like it's therapy. It's like
Yeah.
it's a way
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to process it in a very positive way because we take our
Yes.
art
Yes.
and we turn it into something. And I think
Yes.
that's what I love about like musicians, especially people who write their own music, because then you
Mm-hmm.
kind of it's their story. It's like your story. Like when they
Yes.
see that you're writing it and your it's your vision. And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if you listen to somebody, it's a different feel. Like if somebody's a really good vocalist and they've got these writers that write for them,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not really their story. They're saying they're interpreting somebody else's story, but when it's your
Mm-hmm.
story, it's your writing. It just feels like
Yes.
the way like if you read a book, if you read an author, it's like that's their take on the world. So
Yes.
we're
Yes.
getting your world view, and I think
Yeah.
that's why I love listening to individual artists that put out their own production, because then it's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
that's like I'm being brought into your world, and I get to
Yes.
have your point of view, and
Yeah.
I think that is real important because there's a lot of people try to copy other people, right?
Yes.
But
True.
I like to hear original music. That's what the whole point of this podcast has been, to talk to people who write have their own vision. Oh, again, we lost it again. Um, try it again. It's all right. We'll just continue from where we were, but yeah, I mean, I really
Mm-hmm.
dig that song because
Mm-hmm.
fake smile is like there's a lot of people like you said, like in the industry, there's a lot of people that don't tell the truth. There's people that
Yes.
misrepresent. In your own personal life, you run into people that have like masks on, and they're not really
Mm.
who they are, and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and that's a real thing. And so like your take on it, I really appreciate your vision for that. 'Cause I like the way you expressed it. I like
Oh, thank you.
the music is just you have your own like sound, and
Mm.
I've been very impressed with the way you write. I like the style. I like how you actually construct your tracks. And maybe you can talk a little bit about
Yeah, sure.
like
Yeah.
what do you how do you like writing, like when you're in the studio, what like brings a project together? Do you just like to be in your DAW or in your environment and just come up with these ideas? Like, did it come into your head, like in a dream, or how do you come up with your songs?
Well, I start with opening my DAO and then just believe my instinction, and I start work on the sound first.
Mm-hmm.
So making beats first, and after that I usually take my mental notes on my phone, so I can look up my like idea for the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So like for example, it's it happened all of the sudden, but like just like it's really all of a sudden. Like when I walk down the street, like my mental said, like my heart said, oh, I wanna write song about my my recent feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Then I open my the note app and then write how I feel right now and keep it for the future project. So I have some stocks for the uh, lyrics idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so after making beats, I will find a lyric idea from my note, and then how can I say? After that, I figure out melody, and then after build up melody, then I start writing the more detailed lyrics. I think this is my usual process for making song.
Yeah, it's interesting because I like to sometimes, I'll just take my like my multi track, or I like
Mm,
lately I got this thing called an Akai Force, which is like a DAW. It's like an
mm,
MPC, from Akai,
mm,
and you can kind of just go into this like arrangement mode. And when
mm,
you're in arrangement mode, it lets you clip things, right? So you actually can clip like a DJ, but it
mm,
actually each lane, like say you got 8 lanes of clips, it lets you
mm,
go into an arrangement mode where you can like, well, I'm going to run clip one for like 30 seconds, then I'm going to jump to clip two, and it's recording
mm,
it all as a structure.
mm,
So then you can kind of bounce around and say, well, I'm going to do clip two like as the melody, and then use
mm,
clip four as the intro, and then I can go
mm,
back and I can have an end part. So I can just keep on bouncing around in real
mm,
time and structure it. Then I
mm,
can go in and edit. Then I can actually start cutting and pasting and moving stuff around. But I can
mm,
actually put it all down as like this kind of stream of consciousness. And then if I
mm,
like a part, I can say, well, I like this. I'm going to make that the main beat. I'm going to make that the main chorus, and then move it. And then you can
mm,
just take your finger and move it around on a touch screen.
mm,
So it's just one of those, But I have some other things that are just like tape type of things, and it's just you have to be very like you're doing one track and then you overlay another track and you just keep on
mm.
overdubbing,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and it's kind of old and it's harder to move stuff in that
Mm-hmm.
structure, And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of, once I use the older stuff, it's like, well, I'm kind of locked in to what I
Mm-hmm.
physically can play. And then the
Mm-hmm.
newer stuff, I have more ability to move it around.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
But sometimes I like the restriction. So some songs I like is like, well, I like being restricted that I can only do, I have to do this what I can play at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll either
Mm-hmm.
keep it or I'll move it into my other structure. So
Mm-hmm.
then I'll say like,
Wow.
well, I can take something from a Moog and then move it into this arrangement mode, and then
Mm-hmm.
and I have a lot of choices because I can either be old school, kind of locked
Mm-hmm.
into whatever it is, or more modern, where it's like a
Mm-hmm.
DAW and you can kind of do whatever you want and move it around. And so I find
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes having restrictions force
Mm-hmm.
you to do things. Like if you don't have as much tech and you use an older tech, then
Mm-hmm.
you kind of like have to let the song be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's also cool. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a different way of frame of mind. Because like I heard people like less is more. You know the idea. Because sometimes you can get
Mm.
crazy with your
True.
composition, and you could have
Mm-hmm.
all these layers. And you say, well, you know what? When I first started, it only had 4 tracks. It actually sounds better than when it has 16.
Oh, only 4 track.
Yeah, yeah. Well, sometimes like yeah, you can go back and like you could have something that's limited, and then you could
Mm.
like layer it, and then say, you know what, it actually sounds better when it's like more spacious. You know what I mean? It doesn't have as much.
Mm.
So it's different techniques. But I like to experiment. That's just my nature.
Mm. Oh, that's also cool.
Yeah, it's just like I think it's like if people use whatever tools. I've talked to people like use voice memos or they use
Mm-hmm.
napkins. They're out at
Mm-hmm.
lunch and then I got an idea and they write it on a napkin, or they'll go in their car and
Mm.
they'll take their voice memo and they'll just record it into their
Ah,
phone. And
yeah,
then
I also use a voice memo too.
yeah, you like that? Yeah,
Mm.
a lot of people
Yes.
do that today.
Mm.
And then when they're in the studio, they have their lyrics on their phone and they're in the front of their
Mm.
mic like reading the lyrics off their phone.
Mm.
Do you find that you do that, or do you like to just like kind of memorize it, or do you?
Yeah, I also use my phone like when I recording to look up my lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. But but I recently I tried to memorize my lyrics so I can focus on putting my emotion to the lyrics more.
Yeah, because I was talking to a producer and he said, well, the problem sometimes when you use the phone is that
Mm-hmm.
you're not actually focusing on your mic, right? And when you're a
True, true.
vocalist, like you really have to focus on your position on your
Mm.
mic and your
Yes,
breathing.
yes.
And if you're looking at the phone, you're not totally focused. And so that's
Mm.
why a lot of like you'll see vocalists they kind of memorize their lyrics like professional
Mm.
the guys that they all they do is sing. That when I
Mm.
was studying like Frank Sinatra, and I was
Mm.
like looking
Mm.
at how he used to go on his mic, and he used to use this
Mm.
crazy, really expensive mic from RCA back in the
Mm.
40s and 30s,
Oh.
and it was like it was interesting. There was a story that Jim Morrison from the Doors
Mm.
actually loved the mic that Frank Sinatra used. And
Oh.
so when the Doors started recording, he requested that he wanted the mic that Frank
Oh.
Sinatra recorded with. And I said, wow, that's really interesting because you would not think that Jim Morrison has anything to do with Frank Sinatra because it's totally
Mm.
different types of music. But
Mm.
they both use the same mic.
Oh, wow. That's
So
interesting.
and then if you really think about it, if you actually listen to Frank Sinatra stuff and then you listen to Jim Morrison, you can kind of pick up like, wow, that mic does affect the voice in a
Mm.
similar way. And so,
Mm.
like being a vocalist, one thing is like when I started to sing, it's like being your voice is an instrument, and as you get
Mm.
better, like as a songwriter, you start to realize like,
Mm.
oh, there's certain things I can do with my voice that I didn't really understand because I'm more of a
Mm.
keyboardist, right? I'm a keyboardist, I'm a bass player, and I started to sing and I didn't really understand how
Mm.
much you have to put into your singing.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Did you start to
Yeah,
find
yeah.
out like all these things when you start to sing? Did you start to realize like, oh, I can actually use my voice in this way? Did you start to learn like things like that, like in terms of your understanding like your how you can use your voice, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm also originally didn't start my music path as a vocalist.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, my musician friend helped me out figuring how to make better vocal
Oh wow, that's
as
cool.
like for the recording. And then now recently I figured out how to control my voice as a vocalist and also focusing on uh, the distance between mic.
Mm-hmm.
Even I also um, have a particular with vocal microphone.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Currently, I use Shure dynamic vocal mic.
oh, like an SM77
Mm.
or 57 or there's all these different mics. And what I learned
Mm.
is some of the DAWs and some of the some of the tools I have. I have different mics. I have different mics I bought, and I bought these. I started to study like, oh, analog preamps actually make your
Mm.
voice sound better. Like, so I actually bought some
Mm.
analog plug-in
Yeah, it's true.
devices that actually increase
Mm.
the sound. It's like kind of like if you think about like when somebody's talking on a radio, it's like why do they sound like that? Well, because
Mm.
they have these mics and they have these analog preamps and they have these processors that go on the mic. And then a lot of
Mm.
times today, in the DAWs and also in the mixers, there are these different
Mm.
plugins that you can start to use. And it's like, oh, I can use like this UU57 or SM51, all these different types of, you can have digital
Mm.
recreations of mic profiles. And
Mm.
then if you use those digital recreations, they actually have the characteristics of certain microphones. And then you
Mm.
start to like, wow, if I use this type of microphone, my voice sounds like this. If I use it like that, it sounds like that. If I have a distance or I throw a chorus or a digital
Mm.
delay or I use a
Mm.
spring reverb, you start to find out, it's like, oh, these different effects along with the
Mm. Yeah.
profiles and then the
Mm.
distance from the mic and
Yes. Yes.
it's like there's a whole school of thought.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, there's a lot of things for the vocal and vocal mic.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
there's so many things that come into play because then like I use
yes.
tools like voice transformers where
Mm.
and the voice transformer can change my, it's not like auto tune.
Oh.
It's a Roland product. Roland makes these things called like voice transformers, and I use
Wow.
this thing called VT3, which is a
Mm-hmm.
box. It's a machine, and
Mm.
it's a vocal transformer, and it can change the pitch of your voice. So it can make your voice
Oh, interesting.
deeper, or it can
Mm-hmm.
make it pitch it up. Right, so you can actually
Mm.
change it. Like that's how I create my Josephine character. It actually in real
Mm.
time pitches my voice to like a female, or I can take
Mm.
my voice and make it deeper. So lately I've been taking my
Mm.
male voice and making it a touch deeper. And then it
Oh.
has the ability to throw reverb and then they'll
Mm.
throw like harmonization. So it actually doubles my voice. It has this
Oh.
thing where I actually throw in like this harmony and it makes my voice sound like there's two of me. And
Mm.
so
That's really cool.
there's all
Mm.
these cool devices that you can get, and it's not a trick, but it's like it's a style of like how can I
Mm.
make my voice get closer to what my vision is for the song. And it's kind of like when
Mm.
you're setting up your patch, right? If you're
Mm.
setting up sounds for your, like a lot
Mm.
of times if you're a producer, like you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
find
Yes.
the pad, right? You're trying to find the bass. You're trying to
Yes.
find the
Yes.
kick drum you want or the snare you want.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
spend all day trying to find the right snare, or trying
Yes.
to find the
Yes.
right kick drum,
Yeah. It
or
happens all the time.
yeah, you can
Yes.
spend like all day just getting the kick drum right,
Yes.
or just getting the snare right, or then like, oh, well, what if I throw a little echo on this, a space echo on this snare drum? What if I
Mm.
throw like a
Mm.
reverb on this, and then a
Mm.
digital delay on this, and then you start saying, well, I could actually take the first 15 seconds and have like a chorus on this, and then switch it to it has no chorus, and then switch it back, and then move it to this, and then you're bouncing around, and you
Mm.
find like there's a lot of engineering things that you can start getting into when you control everything. Like if you're getting this, like, oh, I
Mm.
control this whole mix. So you could
Yeah,
write the
yeah,
song, and then suddenly you're like, well, I can make this part wet and this part dry, and add.
yeah.
Like you start
Mm.
to add like the color, right? As a producer,
Mm.
right? You go into your
Yes.
mix and you say, well, I could introduce this, and then back off
Mm-hmm.
this, and then throw in a backward tape loop or shadow vocal, or I
Mm-hmm.
can, there's so many things you can do. It's like a painting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's really exciting part, but at the same time, sometimes it makes me tired, like too much process.
Yeah, because how much
And
time
it
do you?
takes time to come up with the idea.
Yeah, well, how
Yeah,
much
come up with
time?
the process.
Yeah, how
Mm.
much time do you take? You could take one track. I mean, I've heard like Bruce Springsteen spent 6 months on a track, like this that track
Mm.
Born to Run, which is real famous. He spent
Mm-hmm.
6 months
6 months.
going
That's
on
so
that
long.
track with his band, going
Mm.
over and over, re-recording it,
Mm.
changing it, doing it like multiple variations. And
Mm. Wow.
everybody in the band was like pulling their hair out. I was like, do we really keep on having to play this one song? And
Oh
it,
no.
like they do like one song for 6 months. It's like imagine like they kind of burn out.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like yeah, maybe we should leave it alone. Because sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes it's
Wow.
better to like walk away, because
Mm-hmm.
if you go on it too much, it's like, am I destroying it? Like sometimes you
Mm.
think about like if I did like 10 versions on my song, and then
Wow.
suddenly I go and do a 99,
Wow.
right? And then you're
Wow.
like, is
Mm.
really the version 4 the best one? But I've done so
Mm.
many
Yeah.
versions now, I don't know which one's the best one. It's just like it's just too much.
Wow.
It's like sometimes you have to
Yeah,
walk
too
away.
much. Yeah.
Do you have people that help you pick? Like, do you have friends that you send something to, and then you ask them like, what do you think, or do you kind of make most of the decisions yourself?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I also do that to my musician friend. Also, they also ask me to pick. So yeah, but like they don't have much option. Like usually no like a 99
Yeah,
songs, but just like a two or three.
2 or 3
So
versions.
yeah.
Yeah. Because most people aren't going to sit there and listen. But like,
Mm-hmm.
if you producers, that's where you get the problem. Is you're working with a lot of producers, then you get
Mm-hmm.
the problems. You have too many choices. I've
Yeah.
heard a lot of people say like that's the problem in the DAWs sometimes, is like there's so many choices that you
Mm.
kind of have to give yourself a narrow vision.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like, okay, I'm only
Yeah.
gonna stay in this area, because
Mm-hmm.
otherwise I'm gonna drop into the rabbit hole. Because it's like if you could spend all day
Mm-hmm.
just playing with the reverb. Like you could
Mm-hmm.
spend all day just playing with whether or not you're gonna overdub it, or
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna not overdub it, or you're gonna change it, or you're gonna throw these effects in, or you're gonna throw these samples in. You're not gonna put them in. Or you're making all these choices. It's like, okay, it's like, is what was the song? Right.
Yeah. After listening too much
Yeah,
and too much option, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, because it's like you have to make choices with your samples, and it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I recently started getting into sampling, and my technique was to actually go back and resample my own songs, so I
Mm.
don't have to pay. Right, so I would go back, and I have so many songs. I would just go back and find a clip from something I did
Mm.
like 5 years ago, and I said, "Oh,
Mm.
that works." And then it's like then I don't have to pay.
Mm.
But I found then it's like a reference to my own like
Mm.
catalog, right? So then I can
Mm.
kind of take themes that I've used before and put
Mm.
them in. And
Mm.
I've seen a lot of people nowadays, like they'll resample something on a synth. They'll resample
Mm.
like a drum machine, and then they'll
Mm.
move it around, right? So
Mm.
they'll take an 808 beat and then run it
Mm.
through a sampler and then slow it down, or
Yeah.
take an 808 and then chop it up and move it around, right? And then
Yeah.
it's not that, it's like it's a standard 808, but then suddenly they've really radicalized it and it doesn't really match what it was. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
allows you to kind of take something that existed and radically
Yeah.
change it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like even after picking up the sample, like after the we still have to edit, and then change pitch, change the rhythm, maybe change key.
Yeah.
So many things to do.
There's so many things you can do because you can take something that's a kind of common beat. Like a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
the thing today is there's so many things that where people were like, well, I want to get on the algorithm on Spotify, so I want to trigger the
Mm,
algorithm. So I got to trigger something that's familiar, but I don't want to
mm,
get hit with a violation. So then you're trying
mm,
to like stay in what's what is like hip today, like what is it
mm,
people are into, but I don't want
mm,
to clone, but I want to be in the
mm,
same space. So it's kind of like an
mm,
art. Like how do you get something that's like part of the genre? Like if it's EDM or if it's
mm,
trance or it's trap, I want to be in
mm,
that, but I don't want to take somebody else's idea. I want to kind of
mm,
be inspired by their idea and have my own
mm,
own flavor, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because that's what makes you.
Yes, yeah. I know, yeah, have to if you have a target and want to work on the certain genre, at least have to work on sounds like that genre, EDM, I don't know, electronic pop, something,
Yeah,
etc. But also have to make some uniqueness.
yeah,
So the balance,
yeah. My
yeah.
kid, my balance. I mean, I like funk, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of classic funk, Parliament Funkadelic, or like
Mm-hmm.
Earth, Wind, Fire, or Sly and the Family Stone. But I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
sound just like Funkadelic. So I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
like, some people will take Funkadelic and they'll just sample it. And they'll
Mm-hmm.
sample something deep and people don't
Mm-hmm.
realize. And then people think it's new. It's like, well, it's actually exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you take something like from Parliament and you take in
Mm-hmm.
that kind of funk vibe, and then you
Mm,
then
yeah,
you
yeah.
then you like, well, I'm going to change the key, or I'm going to go
Mm,
and I'm going to actually make it polyrhythmic, or I'm going to go
mm,
and put it into like subdivisions and change it, and it
mm,
just totally radicalize it. Then it becomes like your own. And so
mm.
that's like it's just not just even pitch, but you can kind of put things through filters. You can run things through
Yes, yes.
choruses or space echoes, and it suddenly becomes what like a cool technique is taking something through a digital delay, and
Mm-hmm.
then it kind of like you can have a kick drum, and it suddenly becomes like the kick drum's going double time or triple time
Mm-hmm.
because the way you did the digital reverb. So then it's not
Mm-hmm.
exactly what it was, and
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes like this newfound sound that
Mm-hmm.
you mind, like you mind
Mm-hmm.
it,
Mm-hmm.
but you're using it in a different way, right? And
Mm.
so there's all kinds of interesting techniques that are out there. It's all about making something your own, I think, and that's what I like about your music
Mm.
because it's Rick Life. Like when I hear you, like
Oh, thank you.
that's you. That's not
Yeah.
like it's not somebody else. It's like that's what I think originality and authenticity.
Mm.
That's what I think
Yeah.
a lot of people want that now because I think they're kind
Mm.
of getting tired of the same drop or the
Mm.
same beat
Yeah.
and the same plug-in
Yes, yes, I
that
know. Yeah, this
everybody
is
else
my
is
goal
that
too.
everybody
Yeah.
else is doing. Yeah, I mean
Mm.
that's what you want to do. So are you working on anything new, or are you pushing this song for now?
Just push this song for now, but I'll announce um every month for
Okay,
the new information. So yeah, I want you all guys to stay tuned
oh cool.
and then check my Instagram and X, but mainly I use Instagram more. So yep.
And also, like your image for this song, maybe we can talk about like what made you choose like the way your photographs for your cover. What that's your vision, right? Or did you work with somebody?
Yes, the image is myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I put the some edit on my face, so it looks like make the atmosphere of dark, maybe looks like emo.
Yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
Halloween time. Well, it is.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, it's
yes.
kind of like that Halloween vibe, like kind of
Yes.
like a vampire. Were you going for
Yes.
like a vampire thing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's why I released uh on this month because there's
Yeah,
a Halloween.
yeah, yeah. Cause I got that.
Yeah.
Cause I remember when I was in Japan, I was surprised that Halloween you guys really are into it. Cause I was.
Uh well, I don't think most people understand the meaning of
What it is
doing
about.
Halloween. Just like people misunderstand as just a cosplay
Oh, they just
event.
use it for
uh,
cosplay. Yeah, I remember because I
yeah.
was in I was in Roppongi back in
Oh.
2004, and there were all these
Mm.
haunted houses in their apartments. People were doing
Oh.
people were setting up haunted houses in their apartment buildings around Roppongi, at least in 2004, and we were
Mhm.
going and trick or treating, and they actually had a lot of us going around it to the different
Mhm.
apartment buildings, and they were these
Mm.
haunted house setups.
Mhm.
And I was like, wow, I didn't, because being in America, I didn't expect that the people would be doing that. But at least in 2004, when I was there were people
Oh, okay.
in that
It's a
area
kind of long time.
that were doing it.
Mm.
I don't know if they're doing it anymore. Maybe it was back then.
Yeah. Um. Like not this year, cause this year um so like recent 3 or 4 years from 3 or years ago, I think, not in Roppongi but in Shibuya,
Hmm.
people tend to gather up for the Halloween event.
Hmm.
But
Awesome.
this year it's really strict, so not many people.
Yeah, kind of like
Uh,
COVID changed
yeah,
everything because like COVID probably
yeah,
changed
yeah,
all the things that people were doing 2004, 2006. There was no COVID at that time, so like a
yeah, yeah,
different mindset. But yeah, I just want to thank you again for being on the show. I'm gonna string all these together and put it together and produce it, you know.
yeah.
And yeah, we'll sometime today or later tonight, U.S. time, because today it's like my time it's like 11 and 45 in the morning. Uh,
Oh,
so
okay.
so sometime today I'll have this put out, and I'll like I said, what we do today on the
Mhm,
podcast is we create a landing page,
mhm,
and the landing page has all the places we are. And
mhm,
we're also able to create a YouTube. Even though this was
mhm,
audio, we can create like an audio only YouTube. So this will
mhm.
be on YouTube, and we'll push it out to Facebook as well. So there'll be it'll be on multiple platforms, and
Oh,
and
nice.
and that landing page will allow people to pick it up on
Mhm,
Amazon or iHeartRadio or Google Play and
mhm.
Spotify and Apple. All these are new things that we've been able to do. But thank you again for being on the show. We appreciate it. I want to remind people again, we are a feature podcast on Newsly. So use coupon code GHOST to get 1 month free premium subscription. And check out Rick Life on Spotify and Apple and all the other places to listen to music. We're going to have the Spotify link on here when we're published to your new song and Fake Smile. So thank you again for being on the show.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a good day.